Welcome to this production of Getting to Know Your Etrac. In the following scenes you will learn the basics of your Etrac metal detector.
It's new from the ground up. We have a new lightweight coil, much less weight than anything that's gone before. A new yoke position right in the middle that makes the balance much more easy on the arm. We have a new ergonomic handle that's easier to hold and much more comfortable. A new microprocessor, much faster than anything that went before. And on this detector we have remapped the ferrous and the conductive axis, giving you 35 ferrous digital IDs and 50 conductivity IDs. Now there are so many new features in this detector that in this short video it's just not timely to cover them all, but some of the most important aspects we have a new tone range from multi-tone to 1, 2 and 4 tone choices. You have what we call a new quick mask section, and what that does in the field, you can change the axis of the conductivity and the ferrous locations and determine whether something is good, bad. Another new very exciting feature is what we call suggested sensitivity, and instead of one sensitivity level you now have two. The bar on the left is showing your actual sensitivity and the bar on the right will be showing what the detector thinks would best suit the ground conditions that you're in. It can help you to get the most out of a difficult ground situation. Probably the most exciting aspect of Etrac is a completely new function, something we call Etrac Exchange. And what that is you can connect your Etrac via this USB slot here to your personal computer. You can make up selected program patterns and you can email those patterns to anybody in the detecting world that you're friendly with. So if you're living in Norfolk, England, you can send them to your cousin in Norfolk, Virginia, and he can use your patterns exactly as you set it up.
Now, the menu system on the new Etrac is considerably different from most other detectors, but it really is easy to understand. We just need to go through it step by step, which is what we're going to do right now. So to get to the menu options, of course, you turn the machine on. Turn the backlight on so we can see what it's doing. Press the menu icon. And the first option you have is called User Modes, and then here you have Select and Save. A user mode is a collection of detector settings plus a discrimination pattern that you choose based on your particular preferences. Settings like volume gain, audio response, tone ID, all different settings that you can adjust and save those out as particular user modes for particular sites. You can also retrieve those anytime you want to. And you can also share those with other Etrac users using Minelab's Exchange software. The next option is called discrimination, and of course that's the standard controls there for select, save, edit your discrimination patterns, but there is also a new option called combine. Now the combine feature does something that's never been possible before, is to take two separate preset discrimination patterns and combine them into one pattern, which you can then load into your Smart Find screen as your new discrimination pattern. The next option in the menu is called sensitivity, which is pretty standard. You have manual or auto, manual level, but there is a new feature called auto level. And the auto level is adjustable between +3 and -3. Now what auto level does is, while the detector is in auto sensitivity mode, which means the sensitivity is being adjusted on the fly based on the ground conditions that the detector senses, the auto level will adjust auto sensitivity a little higher than normal or a little lower than normal based on the number you choose. So if the numbers for auto level are in the plus range, auto sensitivity will adjust a little higher than normal, and if they're in the minus range, it'll adjust a little lower than normal. The next option is the audio menu, and the audio controls all the sounds a detector makes when detecting and locating a target. The threshold level controls the volume of the threshold hum. The volume limit controls the max volume of the target signals. Volume gain controls the amplification of the audio response to a target. And the response control changes the way target signals sound when they're detected. Now the tone ID is a sub-menu of the audio menu, and it controls how the audio varies when you detect a target. You can set the number of tones at 1, 2, 4, or multi-tone. You can control whether the audio response is based on a target's conductivity or ferrous content with the sounds option, the variability of the tones based on the target's characteristics, and also the limits, which allows you to set a maximum pitch of all tones either in ferrous or conduct mode. The option for limits is only available with the number of tones set to multi. And backing out to the main audio menu, you have the threshold pitch, which controls the pitch of the tone of the threshold hum. So let's move on to the next option, which is the expert settings. And the first two there are recovery deep and recovery fast, which control how fast the detector reacts to certain targets. Trash density, which allows you to optimize the detector for low trash or high trash areas. And the ground option, which controls how the detector reacts to mineralized soil. The next option is the preferences themselves, which controls the overall look and feel of the display. Your contrast you can adjust back and forth. Your pinpoint mode, which there are two options, sizing and normal, and Gordon will be covering that in a separate presentation. You can choose whether or not you want to show the sensitivity settings, show the mode info, whether you've chosen one of your modes or one of Minelab's preset modes. You can turn display timeout off and on, and with the display timeout on, the information from the last target detected will clear off the screen after 5 seconds. And of course the information that's cleared is the ferrous and conductivity numbers, the target crosshair, and the depth gauge crosshairs. Now with display timeout off, the information from the last target detected stays on the screen until another target is picked up by the Etrac. And also the master reset, which wipes all of your settings, and Gordon also covers that in a separate presentation. So as you can see, the menu system on the new Etrac is fairly complex, but it really is easy to understand. Of course, this presentation is not a substitute for your manual, which you should read, but if you have any questions beyond that, you can always contact Minelab through their web address. You can also log on to minelabowners.com, which is a large online forum dedicated to Minelab detectors and the people who use them, and they'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. The main things to remember is to both read your manual, learn what the Etrac is telling you, and the knowledge of both those things are going to help you find the good stuff.
Now, one of the really exciting developments in the Etrac is this special facility to upload and download your programs and save them to your computer. Now, before I explain how we do that via the Exchange software, please make sure that your detector is switched off before connecting the USB cable. When we connect the USB cable, start your program, switch on the detector, and we're ready to go. So let's take a brief look at the Exchange software. Now hopefully you've installed your program and don't have any problem there, and you should find on your desktop an Etrac Exchange icon. If you haven't installed it on your desktop, you will find it in Start, Program Files, and have a look in there, and you should find the Etrac Software Exchange. So anyway, before we move on, I've created here another folder, and this is very good for saving files and getting a workflow sorted out. So what I suggest you do on your computer is that you create a folder called Etrac Exchange, and in it put a few other folders: Etrac Backup, Mode Settings, Patterns, Preferences, and Universal Settings. So this will help you later as you start saving a lot of programs and settings to find them quite easily. So there we go, a little tip from me. Good workflow. Let's move on. Okay, let's start the software. Now I'm really excited about this Etrac Exchange because we can share our files with our friends. We can upload them online, like to a minelabowners.com forum, and share them with people there. There's so many things you can do with this, and it's very versatile. And this is what makes the Etrac unique. So an example, we started the detector. Let's take a look. We have all the various settings here. For those of you who use the Explorer, you'll be familiar with some of these. There's quite a few new ones here though. Let's try, the ground is neutral now. Let's change that to difficult. My audio response is normal, and etc, etc. Now what I want to do, I want to upload that to my Etrac. So I go here, click I want to upload mode to Etrac. That's as simple as it is. Either you can do this way either to save it or open it, but we're going to upload it. So upload to Etrac, just those couple of changes. So I want to upload press the slot and press upload. I want to put it in my current mode. Upload. The new mod will overwrite the existing mode settings and mode pattern. Do you wish to proceed? Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Click that. There we go. Now, I'm not showing you a screen of my detector at the moment, but those settings now are stored in my Etrac. And if I want to save those settings to pass on to a friend, save mode to a file, save. Remember, I created my own on my desktop. Where are we? Etrac Exchange. Mode settings, Gary mode 1, well, Gary mode 2. Well, we'll overwrite that, Gary mode 1 save. So there you go. I now have that saved onto my desktop so I can upload it later or share. Great, eh? And the same, another great example is with the patterns. So now we can exchange discrimination patterns. What do I want to do? I want to upload a pattern to my Etrac. So I go here, open a file with a pattern. And these are, let me have a look here now, up a bit. Patterns. There we have a nail reject pattern, which we have made. In fact, Gordon made this. So open that there. You can see it there. Select the slot. I want to put it in my pattern 1, upload. And there you go. You can see it's in my patterns. It's showing what's on my smartphone screen at the moment. There it is, my pattern 1. So that's it in a basic nutshell. Very easy to use, very easy to understand, and a great way of sharing your settings. Now I want to also here create a backup of my Etrac so I can save those for later. So I back up, I move up to my settings, Etrac backup, and you can see I've got factory settings and Gary's backup Etrac. I'm going to call it Gary's mode 1 backup. Save. Now, for a more detailed description on how to use the Etrac Exchange, you will find on your CD or also up here in Help, Etrac Exchange User Guide, and that will give you more details on the software. But enjoy, it's fantastic. And I can't wait to see you online on minelabowners.com exchanging all these files. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Hi, my name's Gordon Heritage and I'm going to show you how the new timings on the Etrac will help you find lots and lots of good non-ferrous signals in amongst the iron. Before I start, I'm going to perform a factory reset. Now, the easiest way to do a factory reset is simply start the Etrac up while holding down the on-off button. This type of factory reset won't affect any of your saved programs or patterns. However, there is also a master reset, which will wipe everything. Now, to get to that, press Menu, Preferences, and scroll down until you reach Master Reset. Scroll up and select Yes. Pressing left or right arrows will then perform the Master Reset. So now we've performed an Etrac master reset, I'm going to load one of Minelab's preset programs called Relic. Now, to get to this, we press Menu, User Modes, select Minelab Modes, and scroll down past Coins, High Trash, and Beach until we get to the relics. Press the Detect button, choose Yes, and apply the relic mode. Now, I've laid out in front of me a few genuine iron signals. As you can see, these are genuine iron targets that you are likely to encounter while out metal detecting. Okay, now I'm going to put an American dime in between all the iron, and no problems finding that at all. So this detector's new timings are really, really good at dealing with iron. I mean, I can swing that as fast as I like, and it gets it every time. Take it away, and nothing. Okay. So now for the Europeans, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a cut halfpenny. Okay. I mean, that's a fast speed. I wouldn't recommend that you actually search a good field that fast. But as you can see, that gets it no problems at all. Before digging any target, it's really important that you should pinpoint it before digging it. Now on the Etrac, you have two modes of pinpoint. One is called normal, which is the default, and the other is called sizing. In normal, each time you sweep over the target, the audio response is set below the previous level. So what this means is each time you sweep over a target, the audio response reduces, making it easier to pinpoint. Personally, I prefer the other pinpointing mode called sizing. Okay, there's a signal there, but as you can hear, the smooth sounds is really pretty much confusing exactly where it is. So I'm going to use the pinpoint. Now the pinpoint mode I'm using this time is sizing. And if you do have like a figure of 8 over where you think the object is, you can soon work out exactly where it is. So it's actually just about there. Another great improvement over the Explorer is that when you look at the screen, you can now see digital and pattern information at the same time. By clicking the Detect button, you can toggle between the smart screen and digital screen, but in either you can still see both types of information.
Another new feature in Etrac that we alluded to earlier was trash density, and what that is exactly, you have two settings. You have trash density high and trash density low. Now, when do you know when to use each one? Well, in areas of low mineralization and few targets, that is like the likelihood of one target being under the coil at any given time, that would be a good place to use low. On the other hand then, if you're in an area that has variable mineralization, that is if the machine is a bit harder to control and there are lots more targets, especially iron targets, that would be where you'd use the trash density high setting, because that will optimize the discrimination for you. The detector will react a lot quicker to non-ferrous in amongst ferrous items, and on the low setting, going back to the low setting again, the detector then will lock onto weak signals better in uncluttered ground. Earlier in the videos I alluded to a new feature called Quick Mask, and what that is it's a way of checking your target signals without having to load another discrimination pattern. It gives you a way of very quickly opening up your screen to a different pattern by the press of a button, and pressing the same button again returns you to your detect screen, and you can determine from that if you want to include or exclude that new target in your pattern that you're using for that particular search. This is your Quick Mask button here. It's going to move you from your coin screen, your detect screen, your primary search screen, to your Quick Mask. And going back to where we were talking about the axis change a while ago, we can show you here what happens when you change the coordinates, the axis coordinates, the ferrous and the conductive coordinates. You can see a number appearing on the bottom left on the FE scale, and then we can move our conductive scale. So in other words, you're creating a second pattern, and you can keep moving it and you can determine the coordinates of a particular target. Like right here, I'm looking at ferrous 23 and my conductive is 15. So if you had a problem target that you wanted to discriminate out, you could actually take those coordinates and instantly load it into a Quick Mask pattern and exclude it from your search. And it's a great way of checking targets for that particular purpose. So if you had a problematic target that you wanted to discriminate out, you could load those coordinates into a discrimination pattern of your choice and not dig that target anymore. In Etrac, we've really made it easy for you to edit your discrimination patterns. We've incorporated a new menu, and within the menu we have some features. You have a manual way to adjust a pattern. You have what we call auto latch, which is a new function, auto accept or auto reject. That gives you 4 different ways to create your own discrimination patterns to target the types of finds that you want to make, and we'll show you and explain those functions to you now. To edit your discrimination pattern, you select your menu, scroll down to your edit, use your navigation button to bring you into the edit screen. Now, using the left shift button, you control the size of the cursor area that you're going to use to create your accept or reject pattern, and you scroll up and down like so. On the other side, you have the right hand side shift button that takes you through the actual discrimination modes, and these are your manual mode, which allows you to edit manually, auto latch, which automatically selects the ferrous and the conductive coordinates. You have the auto accept mode, and when operating in this mode, the discrimination pattern will be automatically modified to accept the ferrous and conductive coordinates of a target. And last one down, you have the auto reject mode, and when operating in this mode, the discrimination pattern will be automatically modified to reject the ferrous and conductivity coordinates of a target, making it very, very easy to do on the fly, in the field, when you're in a hurry and when you have limited time. We're going to show you how to use the various edit modes, and we're going to use this 22 cartridge as a reference point. We're going to introduce the non-ferrous .22 cartridge to the coil, and the cursor now has to be manually manipulated over to these coordinates here. You can see it there, so we have to bring it up and bring it over and to match that particular area, and then choose to discriminate that out. Now, on the auto latch function, the moment the target is introduced to the coil, the cursor will automatically move to the coordinates of the ferrous and conductive value associated with that target, like so. And you can see it's moved to exactly where we were a moment ago with the manual. When you've reached this point, then you can either decide to reject that particular target, which we would want to do with this, or accept it if it was a desirable find like a hammered coin or something like that. Now, for the purpose of showing you the auto accept, what we've done here is we've discriminated out some area to show you what happens when we use the auto accept function with the same target. It automatically clears a space to accept that target automatically. Number 4 on the list here is auto reject, and the cursor will automatically reject the ferrous and the coordinates of the conductivity of the target. So it's moved to this area and blacked it out immediately. So what you can do then is you can save this to your pattern. Yes. And there, you're back in your detect screen again, and you won't have to bother with these .22s anymore. The thing to remember about editing in Etrac is that the option to save or reject is in all of those 4 modes, even though I showed you just how to do it in the reject mode, in the auto reject mode. Now, this makes it absolutely fantastic for the amount of discrimination patterns that you can make. They must go into the thousands, so the notching abilities are absolutely super, and as you can see, as you saw in the video, it is so easy to do. One of the really fabulous aspects of Etrac, one of the great features, is a new one that we call Combine. And what Combine is it literally means a combination of something, and the something being a discrimination pattern and the option of loading in another discrimination pattern to merge or combine with the pattern that you already are using. And it's really fast to do, and one of the great things about it is if you're on site with a particular discrimination pattern and your mate comes along and tells you that he's finding hammered coins or something, what you can do is you can alter your pattern on the spot combine it with a different discrimination pattern and include the hammered coin area so that you will also make some hammered coins during that search. Now the other aspect of combine is that you can also discriminate against something that you don't want to find. In this case we're looking for coins, but we're finding some screw caps and we don't want to find them anymore. So it's the same procedure as we did a minute ago. Into your discrimination menu, into combine. Now you want to import your pattern into your active screen here. There we are. Now we want to scroll down to screw caps. Now we want to reject those, so it's 2 presses and there it's rejected. Load that pattern. Yes. And there you are, you're working away and you're not finding screw caps anymore. Another aspect of the combine function is you can accept and reject in the same combination, and it's very easily accomplished. Press your menu button, scroll down to your combine screen. We're going to import our pattern over here. Now what we want to do is we want to reject nails, or portions of nails. So we can see nails take up this area here, but given their rusted nature, some might not be rusted, some will be more rusted than others. Therefore we're going to reject this area. Now we have a little bump here showing the extra discrimination that you've put in for certain types of nails. Now we also want to find ferrous coins, so we're going to scroll down to ferrous coins. Now you can see the area here, it crosses over into this area, so we're going to say yes to that. So now we're going to reject a certain amount of nails, but we're still going to accept our ferrous coins with this pattern. So we load that up. And there's your pattern that allows you to reject some nails, find coins and ferrous coins as well. When I described some of the features of Etrac at the very beginning, I alluded to a new setting called Suggested Sensitivity, and how that works and what it is, we will demonstrate that for you now. Here we have those 2 bars that I was talking about. The one on the left is the actual sensitivity you're working at, and it's showing me 26 at the moment. The bar on the right is what we call the suggested sensitivity, and this is what the detector is thinking we should be using. And if we scroll down here, we can match the lines, and the detector is telling me that I should probably be working at 20. Now this is in manual, but the same applies in automatic, and we'll show you that next. Now we're in automatic because you can see the scrolling dots here. It shows that the auto is working. Now we're up pretty high in automatic and it's lower in the suggested. Now sometimes the suggested might actually range up higher than the auto, and you can use 3+ steps or increments to bring your sensitivity up to match what's being suggested. Or conversely, you can go into the minus area and you have 3 minus notches that you can go to, and you're still operating either less conservatively or more aggressively depending on where you want to be. A will show you that you're in automatic, and that goes off and it's replaced by this scrolling circle, which means it's looking for a higher usable sensitivity for you to work at. The quickest way to go from automatic to manual is to use the navigation buttons here. These are what these are called. So you navigate, now we're in manual, you navigate back and we're in automatic, and that's a very, very quick way. Otherwise you go through the menu to make your sensitivity selection, like so. We're in auto, manual, press your detect button, and now you're back into manual. So if you want to go to auto again, there you go, press the button and you're all set. Now you might ask yourself, why did we introduce this suggested sensitivity setting? Well, the way we have set up Etrac, what it does is it constantly monitors the ground readings, and it sets out its sensitivity according to the signals coming back, and the cleaner the signals, the higher the sensitivity will range. The lower the signal quality, the lower the sensitivity will range down to. So it's a good method of letting you know the type of ground conditions you're on, because the higher you go, the more benign or neutral the soil will be, and the lower you go, the more mineralized it could be. And that is why we made this suggested sensitivity setting, and it really works well. In an earlier video, I referred to remapping the axis of the Etrac, and what I meant by that is we've taken the conductivity scale and we've made it into a linear fashion. So starting from the extreme left hand side of your meter, you'd have the low conductive targets traveling across to the medium conductive targets, traveling to the extreme right hand side to the more highly conductive targets like copper and silver. Essentially what we have here on Etrac, our scales are ferrous is now from south to north, from bottom to the top of the screen, starting at the 30s and moving up to the lower numbers. And on the conductivity scale, we're going from east to west, left to right. So the axes are different to other FPS systems in the past. So therefore, the smaller low conductive targets are going to be hitting in this area here, with increases in conductivity traveling more and more and more to the right hand side, bringing you to this area here where the high conductive targets would be hitting. Gold and other rings and things would be in the lower conductive area, along with silver coins, lower hammered conductive type silver coins, and foil and other low conductive items will be on the extreme left hand side with very low numbers on the conductivity scale of things. So summing up the axis change, what you have now, you have your targets moving across the screen in a linear fashion, and what's very important then are the ferrous and the conductive numbers, because there will be a true indication of your target. So if you see your cursor land here and an FE reading of 11 and a CO reading of 0.2, you'd be dealing with a low conductive target, something small. If your cursor travels over to the extreme right hand side and you see FE 12 and CO 45, you will then be dealing with a large or a higher conductive target, like a silver coin or a large copper coin or something like that. So essentially the new axis is very, very straightforward and very easy to understand.
Now, if you're an existing Explorer user, what you will find is that all your accessories will fit easily onto the Etracs. For instance, the control box cover will stretch over the Etrac control box, no problems at all. Also, any coils like the excellent range of SEF coils, the small, medium and large, will all fit easily onto the Etrac. Excellent coils, so you don't have to go out and buy new coils for the Etrac that if you've already got them for your Explorer.
Now there's more to detecting than just owning a detector. You also need a good set of quality accessories. Example, here we have a pair of gloves. Now these will keep your hands clean and stop you cutting yourself on sharp objects. Now you'll also need a battery pack. Spare batteries. Can you imagine you've gone all that way, drove all that way to go detecting, and then all of a sudden you switch your machine on, boom, nothing there. So remember, save you a lot of hassle, a spare battery pack. Also, a good quality pair of headphones. Now with these, they extend your battery life and also allow you to hear more signals and help you find more finds. So moving on again, a finds pouch. This will go around your waist or whatever you want, and here you can put in bits of rubbish and iron and things, because you're going to take that home with you, and also your good finds as well. Moving on, you will need one of these. This is a digger to allow you to retrieve your find. Now you can take a digger, or you can take with you a spade, which you can buy from your local hardware shop. So there you go. There's the accessories, the basic accessories that you are going to need.
There's not many signals here. Oh, that's a nice low tone on the Etrac, using conduct sounds. So this isn't iron, it's definitely not iron. Okay, let's pinpoint it. Figure of 8 over the find. Alright, so it's just there. Now what I'm going to do is actually dig 2/3 around and make a flap and flap it out. Quite stony ground. Okay, just see right on the edge there. I can see it. Just in the edge here. I don't know if you can see. There it is there. It's a small Roman brooch. Okay, there you go. That was a bit unexpected. So that's how you recover a find. Okay, now the only thing that we've got to now do is leave the site exactly as we found it. And because this is nicely hinged, just flip it over and then stamp down on that grass, and you couldn't even tell that we'd been here.
To find your local authorised Minelab dealer, call 01959 571 255. If you have any questions or you want to look for more information on detectors, detecting techniques, detecting clubs and a lot of other things, there are several websites you can visit. Minelab.com, the homepage of the detector manufacturer who made the detectors we've shown you here today. MinelabOwners.com, the world's premier metal detecting forum with nearly 8,000 active members from all over the world. You could also take a look at MLOTV.com. Here is a new site where you can upload videos and share them with the whole detecting community throughout the world. So log on, load up your pictures and your videos and share them with everybody else.